Oh, what is a p-value and why is it so important? If you're a student in the sciences and you don't know what a p-value is, that's perfectly fine. Just watch this video. If you work in the sciences and you don't know what it is, maybe don't tell anyone you're watching this video. All right, in simple terms, it's the probability, P stands for probability, of receiving a false positive. That is, what are the odds we found a difference, an effect, a correlation, whatever statistical test you're conducting, and we shouldn't have. So if you receive a really small p-value at a certain threshold, which is overwhelmingly most of the time 0.05, this does change given on research context, you may declare something called statistical significance. Statistical significance. Those words will govern your life in statistics. I assure you, get used to writing them. That means you may reject something called the null hypothesis of that test, which usually means that there's no difference, no correlation, no effect, whatever, and instead accept evidence of the alternative hypothesis that there is a difference, that there is an effect or it's a correlation. So let me bust through a quick example here in R to look at something that might be statistically significant. Just pulling in some packages. Let's use this default dataset from ISLR2. We'll just have a quick look at the first 6 rows of this dataset called default student balance income. I'm just interested in those that default on their loans and what their credit balances were at that point. Let's do a quick summarize there. So we have those that default, no, and yes. The mean balance is much lower than that of those that do default. That does make sense. Let's make sure that it's statistically significant though. We don't want to naively accept everything. So let's use a t-test. The difference in averages between two groups. Perfect. So I'll just push that out. Let me push that just up a little bit. Okay, now first thing we're looking for is the p-value. Now, if you've seen my video just before on scientific notation, you know that that is a really small number. Oh my goodness. Therefore, below 0.05. So that is good. That is fantastic. That means that we can reject the null hypothesis and instead declare that there is a statistically significant difference in the average balances between these two groups, given that a p-value is below that threshold. That's what the p-value does, and it allows us to make that declaration. Hopefully that helps.